Canterbury love watching great netball, and to have the Vixens here in Christchurch on our home turf, I think will be a fantastic opportunity for us.
The crowd will tell you. Anywhere in New Zealand when you're playing, the crowd certainly does come into it, and in Christchurch playing in that stadium, it's going to be hard, it's going to be loud, and we need to make sure that we're playing our own game and not worrying too much about what they're saying or what they're doing, and we look forward to having them there even though they're not supporting us.
It's always hard to play away, but to be at home, I think we have that little mental edge over them.
Westpac Arena in Christchurch, where last week the Canterbury Tactix suffered a spirited extra time loss to the New South Wales Swifts. It doesn't get any easier for the home side though. Tonight they take on the reigning champions, the Melbourne Vixens. Welcome everyone to the fourth Aussie-Kiwi clash of the round in what is known as the rivalry round. And Tanya Dalton, the Aussie team, the Melbourne Vixens, come into this game as favourites. Is there any reason to think otherwise?
Certainly not. Look, this team, 9 straight wins. They've got the best attacking end, they're the best away from home record, so without doubt they're the favourites. I guess the thing in favour of the Tactix, there is no Julie Corletto, no Chelsea Nash, who are 2 of their starting 7, so that's a big one for the Tactix.
Well, one of the strong points of this Vixen side is their shooting circle in Thwaites and McMahon. Do Kite and Smith have the ability to at least match it with those 2 guns?
Look, the best shooting end, and when you watch them, they're just amazing. They've got nothing to lose out there. What I like about Kite and Smith is they have a go, and that's what they've got to do tonight. I think the key is keeping that penalty count down, and they've got nothing to lose. Go for it.
Well, 3 games have already taken place in this rivalry round, and let's have a look at the result. The Kiwis got off to a good start with the Magic, too strong against the Fever, but then it's been all the Aussies with the Swifts overpowering the Pulse and the Thunderbirds showing some form against the Steel. And don't forget, after this game, it should be a ripper. The Firebirds at home against the Mystics. And as I said, 3 games have already taken place, so the ladder is taking shape. The Vixens have a game in hand and they're in 2nd position, followed by the Magic and the Thunderbirds. And let's look down to 8th position with the Canterbury Tactix, but they have the opportunity to move up the ladder if they upset the Vixens tonight. But someone who knows all about the game and netball is our commentator, Andrew McVeigh, and we've placed her somewhere out in the foyer to give us some of her insight into the game. Andrea?
Well, Kath, I'm out here in the foyer at the Westpac Arena, and it is absolutely jam-packed because, as usual in red and black territory, the fans have come to watch this match between the Canterbury Tactix and the Melbourne Vixens. Now, I do have to say that perhaps they're not necessarily here to see the home side. It's more likely that they're here to see some of the star players wearing Vixens colours. Players like Sherelle McMahon, the woman who we love to hate and admire greatly. We really enjoy watching her play. Can the Tactix do it, though? They really do need to record their 2nd win of the season. Let's be honest, they took the Swifts to extra time last week, so anything can happen. So there you go, Kath, I'll make the call. Extra time again here in the Garden City.
Well, only time will tell if Andrea actually knows what she's talking about, but we're about to take a break. But first, let's look at the past history between these 2 sides in the Fisher and Paykel head-to-head.
The head-to-head is proudly brought to you by Fisher and Paykel.
Oh, well done, Marie Bowden.
Oh, jeepers.
Oh, well done, Chocolate.
McMahon, how on earth did she get her hands on that? Well, fantastic win for the Vixens.
We're back live in Christchurch where the Canterbury Tactix take on their 3rd Australian opponent in 4 weeks, but there's none tougher than the undefeated Melbourne Vixens. Tanya, I'll put you on the spot straight away. Can the Tactix cause an upset here tonight? And if so, where will it come from?
Okay, if it's sport, anything is possible. Look, who would have thought they'd take the New South Wales Swifts to extra time last week? I heard Helen Marnstrouds say during the week, all her players have done some good things today. Tonight, they need to do great things, and they need to do great things for 60 minutes. Things like they're shooting at 76%. Well, that's not good enough tonight to take on this Vixen side. So, look, anything's possible, but it is a big ask.
Well, let's have a look at their formidable opponents, although they are missing a number of players. Corletto and Nash out with injury, and Chocolate on the bench, Tanya.
Yeah, and I guess the big thing here is there's a number of positional changes. Demelza McLeod, well, she's been brought in. We saw her in round 1 and she was effective. She's come in again in at goal keep. Bianca Chatfield, well, she's moved out to goal defence. And again, we've seen this combination. They are effective together. And the mid-court, Brooke Thompson, she gets the start at wing defence, and Helen, we used to sing her at wing defence, she's now in centre, and Wendy Jones starts in at wing attack. And I guess the big one, the shooting end, the combination we love to watch. Sherelle McMahon, she's nothing but class, teaming up with Caitlin Thwaites. They're shooting at 82% this season, so that's going to be a big one for the Tactix to stop. Off the bench, well, we've talked about Natasha Chocolate. She's had a fantastic season. I know she went down with a niggle last season, so I'm sure we will see her injected into the game.
Well, no one knows this Melbourne team better than their coach, Julie Hornwick, and she is courtside with our own commentator, Andrea McVeigh.
Well, Julie, slightly depleted stocks, but let's face it, you've got a pretty strong bench. So happy with the players that you've travelled?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, Chelsea tweaked her ankle during the week, and Julie's knees load has been fairly high, so the travel over was going to cause us some concern, so we left them at home. And we figure we've got the talent from the bench, so we're very happy.
And Demelza McLeod, of course, she's familiar with Canterbury colours. She had a great game in round one. Nice to have her back in the mix.
Oh, absolutely. She gives us some local knowledge on how to get around the town. That was very good. But her enthusiasm for the game and her knowledge is fantastic. And she has worked with the Australian group with Bianca before, so it gives us a combination that we haven't really had to work at too hard.
Well, Julie, we love having the Vixens in town and we love watching you play. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. We love playing netball.
Well, Tanya, we talked about a lot of the players and the Vixens shooting circle. Often it's McMahon we talk about. Let's talk about this lady, Caitlin Thwaites.
Oh, look, she has had a fantastic season to date. She's shooting at 82% for the season. Her combination with McMahon is what impresses me. You know, McMahon will draw one way, she'll go the other way. And you know, who knows who's going to shoot it in that combination. So certainly outstanding.
And a change in the wing attack position. No Chelsea Nash out through injury, but Wendy Jones, formerly Wendy Jacobson, gets her chance after being out last year with a knee reconstruction.
Yeah, that's right. We saw her in 2008 and she had the starting position in at wing attack, so I'm sure she will take this opportunity tonight. She's got the start at wing attack, and I'm sure she will supply her shooters some quality ball.
Well, the Vixens are putting out an unsettled starting seven, but the Tactix putting out a very settled one. Let's have a look at this lineup. It is nice to have some consistency though, isn't it?
Yeah, no surprises there, and this is what she started with last week. I guess from the back, you know, the young Charlotte Kite up with Victoria Smith, who they need a big game tonight and they'll know it, so look for them to go for everything. And at wing defence, Philippa Finch, the Finchinator, Marie Bowden, well, she's certainly been on fire this season. She starts at centre, and Chelsea Pittman, the Australian import, and at wing attack. In the shooting circle, yes, the young Ellen Halpenny teams up with Silverfern Anna Thompson. They've been going at 76%. They need to lift their performance tonight. Off the bench, well, I guess Megan Hutton, she may come on if it's not working in that defensive end, but wouldn't look to see many other changes there.
Well, the players have their work cut out, but so does their coach, Helen Mahn-Stroud. She's with Andrea.
Well, Helen, absolutely nothing to be lost here tonight against the Vixens. No pressure.
No pressure at all, and I think the girls are really looking forward to carrying on as they did last week against the Swifts. We know that the Vixens bring that hard, fast game to the court, and we're up for the challenge.
The difference between playing them over there last year and playing them here?
Massive. You can't beat being at home, the whole build-up, being in your home environment for the week, training, and then your pre-game preparation, you know, just down the road. So we look to, you know, use that home advantage to maximum tonight and, have a great game.
Well, let's hope so for the sake of the rivalry round. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Rich.
Well, no pressure, said Mahn-Stroud. I wonder if Victoria Smith agrees, up against one of the world's best, Sherelle McMahon.
Look, what a challenge for a player like Victoria Smith. She's got nothing to lose out there. I describe her as a real workhorse. She has a go at everything. The thing I worry about with Victoria Smith is the penalty she's going to give away outside. She can't afford that and let Sherelle McMahon run on her own. So, big game, but I'm sure she'll rise to it.
And a big game for Ellen Halpenny. She's come to the fore this season, just needs to improve her percentage from 75%, Tanya.
Look, what impresses me about Ellen is her movement in the circle. She's constantly moving. She's getting good ball. Now she's just got to finish those shots and put them through the hoop.
Well, the game's not too far away between the Canterbury Tactix and the Melbourne Vixens, but first let's hear from the captain of the Tactix, Marie Bowden.
Yeah, it's a huge occasion for the Tactix to be playing them at home this time, which is fantastic. Last year we played them in Melbourne. They were going into the finals and they absolutely thrashed us. So this year, home court advantage. We're going to hopefully, you know, we'll play into it. Looking forward just to a good game and, you know, challenging them.
The crowd will tell you
Our Canterbury crowd is amazing and we love playing at Westpac Stadium. It is such a fantastic venue and I would say my favourite venue to play at. The Canterbury crowd's always behind you no matter what. They're always loud and it's just so nice to be, you know, at home playing.
The Westpac Arena in Christchurch, where last Monday night the home side Canterbury Tactix took the unbeaten New South Wales Swifts to extra time, which means tonight also against the unbeaten and top of the table Melbourne Vixens, we could just be in for a Monday night netball treat. The Vixens have the best away record in the ANZ Championship, but former Silver Fern Tanya Dalton, as we've seen week in and week out, anything can happen.
Certainly is, and for this Tactix side, you know, each of these players has to pull the biggest game of their lives out tonight. This is a class side, this Vixen side, but, you know, we've heard earlier, no Julie Coletto, no Chelsea Nash, no Natasha Chocolate starting, so they've got their opportunities, certainly.
Well, instead, Catherine Harvey-Williams, former Australian captain, joining us sideline. They've got Demelza McLeod back in the mix.
Yeah, she'd semi-retired, Demelza had, but they plucked her out for the first game of the season against the Magic. She did a superb job and she's back in the mix, so they won't lose anything with her.
Here come the home side, the Canterbury Tactix. And you can hear the roar of the crowd here at the Westpac Arena. And Tanya Dalton, all 7 players, really absolutely key. They must combine as a team unit if they're to make inroads against the Vixens.
Yeah, and they need to do it for 60 minutes tonight. I think the key is getting a solid start. Don't let this Vixen sides get away on them. So they've got to stay with them and stay with them for 60.
Well, the leadership of Marie Bowden throughout 2010, she's stepped up to the captaincy, done a beautiful job.
Oh, and she's supplying her shooters some solid ball. She's leading by example, and you can tell she's just having a great season and enjoying herself.
The umpires tonight, Mandy Nottingham and Christy Simpson. And we're underway, Westpac Arena in Christchurch, the Canterbury Tactix hosting the championship front-runners, the Melbourne Vixens. And that's what you'd call a dream start. Caitlin Thwaites now for Tactix first pass. Fast-scoring Melbourne Vixens, they mean business.
Yeah, they certainly do. Look at this Tactix side, play it around. They need to, there's some tall timber in there for the Vixens. Already Chatfield with a hand to it.
Such a clever defender, Bianca Chatfield. And a Thompson, sure and steady.
And that's exactly what, if they get the ball, they've got to slot it tonight.
You often find in these clashes too that the underdog generally stays with the favourite for a quarter or a half and then the opposition puts their foot down. We'll see if that happens tonight.
Certainly seems to have been the theme of the rivalry round so far, Kath. McMahon. 105 test caps, Sherelle McMahon. She's a player who we love welcoming to New Zealand and who we enjoy watching play.
Contact, goal attack, advantage offside.
Smith now to Pittman. Finding herself a lot in the pocket, but Halpenny working the baseline.
Yeah, and she'll be happy with that. Slotting her first one.
Oh, the big cross court.
A slight switch there, Kite coming out, right up to the transverse.
Charlotte Kite dangerous out of the circle, but whatever you can do, young lady, I can do better, says Bianca Chatfield, gobbles it up. Another dangerous one, Vixens, but it comes off. Does it what?
Again, that ball speed in the circle.
Spectacular. McMahon likes it.
We talk about all the changes that the Vixens have had to make because of injury, but one thing they've got in common is the fact that their shooting circle has remained constant, and that's very important.
Not a bad shooting circle either, is it, Kath?
McMahon who?
Thompson now, penalty right under the post. And she's good for it. 3 apiece. Early stages, Westpac Arena in Christchurch. We're live with you. Monday night netball. The best team in the championship, the defending champions in the Garden City. McMahon tries to save it with a little tricky flick back into court. Doesn't work.
And a mid-court zone being set up here by the Vixens, looking for that ball in flight. Whoa, Bowden.
Yes, New Zealand teams know how to break a zone. Pick up your player and look over the mess.
Beautiful vision there from Bowden.
So the first break of the game to the home side, the Canterbury Tactix. Pittman now in the hot spot. There's the away hand. And the ball's all over the shop. Vixens break back.
Not sure that was high-quality netball. Pressure netball, we'll call that.
I'm not sure it was netball. It was volleyball. Now the Tactix putting on a prong defence. Finch tries to get a hand to it, goes offside.
McMahon looking at the umpire a lot. She's pushing Kite. Kite's pushing back. They're having a battle already. Keep your eye out for that one.
Just wants to get that ball, and she wants to go, doesn't she?
Well, she did have a point. She was just trying to set the penalty.
It's good, though, that Kite's got that sort of attitude. I mean, she obviously respects McMahon for her ability, but she's happy to get out there and give as good as she gets.
Be taking advice from you, Kat.
Nothing wrong with that. It worked for a while.
Quite a while. Meantime, Thwaites. So 4 apiece. It's about 4.5 minutes old, this match. And it's goal for goal. Jones. Vixens forced to work it around.
Oh.
And McMahon ends up.
Welcome to Christchurch.
On the pine. Pretty sturdy welcome. She won't be bothered by it, though. Seasoned campaigner.
And Victoria Smith. She's sitting 5th on the defensive rebounds this season.
Oh, and that was clever play, Smith. She tried to keep her teammate onside. And the turnover again, so it's topsy-turvy. Good straight line play, using the ball speed tactics.
And Thompson looking straight into Halpenny, which is what any good shooter needs to do.
And Halpenny looking straight to the post. And here's the turnover. All sorts of argy-bargy going on in the circle.
I think that's their strategy. They know that McMahon is probably the difference between winning and losing, so they've decided to go in hard against her.
And Halpenny, 4 from 4, solid start for her.
Continues to amaze me that someone who's 19 years old can be so sure and steady, Halpenny.
Yeah, she's been in the squad for a couple of years now, so she's been given an opportunity.
Hallinan now, Melbourne Vixens on attack. Well, we were on the close-up. I think the only person who contacted was Sherelle McMahon on her teammate. Never mind. Great rebound.
Oh. Kite, hungry for that.
Tremendously athletic. Good control. Tactics turnover. Thompson penalised.
And like I said, Andrea, this is what they need. A good start, and they need to slot these every turnover.
So just under 8.5 minutes left in this first quarter, and it's the Canterbury Tactix, the home side ahead, 7-4. They had the chance to take it one more, but the turnover's gone the way of the Vixens. And the zone. We've seen the Canterbury Tactix use the zone to real effect throughout the course of the 2010 season so far.
There's a lot of talk from Smith there.
Sherelle McMahon was always going to shoot right over the top of it.
Oh, the big swing. Kite looks for it.
Pittman goes and goes again, tries to get the hot spot, but she's off the circle edge.
Brilliant move to the top by Bowden. Saw the space, the place you want to feed from.
And Halpenny was just off balance when she shot. First miss of the match. Chatfield now for the Vixens.
Certainly some tight marking being put on McMahon. You can't let her run loose.
Now there's just one in it again. Thompson finds Bowden again. Bowden doing plenty of work.
Precision pass there over the long arms of McLeod.
Yeah, one of the things, Catherine Harvey-Williams, that I found interesting was the inclusion of McLeod. Of course, Julie Corletto not here. Because Ellen Halpenny's actually been in the same team as Demelza McLeod before for the Tactix, she's unlikely to get phased by her, whereas had she been against someone like Chatfield, she would have perhaps been affected.
Yes, you could be right. And the other thing against McLeod is the fact that she hasn't played much high-level netball. And she did perform well in the first round against the Magic, but sometimes things come back to bite you.
Thompson now. And Pittman seems to be her favourite corner tonight, right across the circle.
Oh, Halpenny there, trying to screen McLeod out, getting pulled. That call can often go the other way.
Bullet pass in Helen and steaming through court. Gee, when they go, the Vixens. 5.5 minutes left now, first quarter. Westpac Arena in Christchurch. There goes Charlotte Kite again.
She's certainly picking up on those diagonals.
The Chums couldn't pick up the pieces that time, but gee, she's on fire.
She is loving it out there. I'm just watching her closely, and her timing is spot on, and she's talking a lot. She's not phased. This is the reason she plays the game in netball.
Good fluidity through court, Tactix. And good shot, Lena Thompson.
Oh, well done to Charlotte Kite there, finished off. Nothing better for a defender than when seeing your intercept pulled off and finished.
Thompson loitering on the wing attack side. And here's this sort of prong zone defence again, this time from the Vixens. Chatfield pressure on the shot. Oh, Halpenny! Take a bow. She just snuck along the baseline to claim her own rebound. And it takes the Tactix out to 11-7. Mann now finds Jones.
Certainly, Kath, they're doing a number of switches down there. Kite's coming out on McMahon.
Combining so well too, Tanya, like they've been playing together for years. I think the Vixens are being exposed by having a lineup they're not familiar with. I'm a firm believer that the more you play together in this game, the better you're going to get.
Held ball, the call. Fine line between patience and firing the ball in. So now it's the Vixens with an opportunity. And Jones really fast through court.
McMahon is getting so annoyed with Kite. Kite trying to tip her over the edge.
Super pass. And super shot. I mean, we talk so often about Sherelle McMahon, but Caitlin Thwaites, Tanya.
Yeah, such a solid target. Great timing on that hold. And what I like, she turns and she shoots.
As does the young lady you see on your screen now, Ellen Halpenny. So we're goal for goal, really. Just 3 minutes left in this first spell. Lovely pass into Thwaites, who converts.
Thwaites holding that front space.
Amazing setup on the centre pass. Defence, Melbourne Vixens. As Bowden now tries to break through. Pittman drives, good front cut. And again, goes and goes again.
And the way they're moving this circle, one's taking the top, the other's hitting the base. Always different, they're not, certainly not.
Timing off McLeod and then Chatfield, so the penalty, crowd love it. One defender out, always difficult. Good use of the angles.
Simple triangle to the top, slot it into the shooter.
2 minutes left now, first spell, Westpac Arena in Christchurch. We're live with you, Canterbury Tactix hosting the Melbourne Vixens and hosting them pretty nicely. They lead them by 2 dying stages of this first stanza. McMahon now hurls it across the circle and thwaites the baseline drive. Pittman uses Finch. Nothing wrong with that. Oh, yep.
Again, Bowden.
It was spectacular. She saw Demelza McLeod with her eyes down.
And puts it over. And you know, when you're a shooter and you're getting quality ball like that, I was just about to say, it makes you put it through the hoop.
And that's what's been letting the Tactics down over the past few weeks. They're putting up as many attempts as any other team in the competition, but their shooting stats are only at 76%. They need to improve on that.
Oh, little fake McMahon. She was going to put it wide. Kite was looking, and then straight into her buddy Thwaites.
And high fives. That was shrewd feeding, perfectly timed. Hallinan now. Vixens will want to go to the break ahead.
And Bowden thought she had that.
Kite this time. That was the Canterbury Tactix defence with their heads down, and the Vixens fire it in. Still time to equalise, and that would be a fair indication of how this first quarter's run.
One defender out.
And Hallinan knew time was up in the first quarter, held on to the ball, so the Vixens will get the pass. It's been a fine first spell here at the Westpac Arena in Christchurch. It's been high scoring and high quality. And we go to the break with things even Stevens, 15 apiece. Back live with you shortly on Sky Sport.
What they're doing from the past is need to make sure that the first 5 minutes we were so tight on them, they had no options, so they're having to back pass. What they're doing is they're driving away and then they're popping forward to the ball. So be aware, go with them, but then come front and just stop them cutting those front cuts on you. You'll pick up some good ball there. But it's good, it's great. Keep talking at the centre pass, because in that first 5 minutes I think you two have to find the body. You know, just let them run down court. Find the body, delay them, stop them, make them think again, make them work again. Eyes up, good on the centre pass. And if you're going to come out right on, you're going to rewind the ball like this. Out on the body.
Astute pieces of advice from both camps. The Melbourne Vixens in town here in Christchurch against the Canterbury Tactix. Former Silver Fern, Tanya Dalton. It's even Stevens everywhere.
Well, what you can't even look. They've had the same amount of attempts, same amount of shots. They're both shooting at 83%. There's nothing in this game, and I guess this is what the Tactix need to do. They need to stay with them and keep with them. They've done a quarter. They've got to keep on keeping on.
Underway, second spell. Both attacking players, Melbourne Vixens, started deep for the centre pass. And they work the head of the circle beautifully. Tactix throw in.
Pittman taking a quick throw in there.
And I have to say, I know it's early days, but the Vixens look like they've come out this second spell meaning business. Finch now, throw in for the home side, finds Pittman. The big dangerous one across the circle.
Again, no one home in the circle, so they're having to do that big swing.
Demels McLeod takes a swipe at it, and 1, 2, 3 passes through court. Vixens steaming. McMahon, she's glorious to watch on the baseline.
We heard McMahon Stroud on the break saying she wants them tighter. Oh, tighter on the centre pass. That's pretty tight.
Tight and torrid. McMahon now, she's shaking herself off.
I've got to say, that's where the maturity of McMahon is coming. There was a time in her career where she'd be tipped over the edge from this constant physical contact, but now she just takes it in her stride, and she's performing well for her team.
So the first 3 goals of the second spell have been scored by the visitors, the Melbourne Vixens.
Better stuff from Halpenny then coming forward. Can't afford to sit in behind McLeod.
Words of advice from Helen Martin-Stroud and Julie Seymour, former Silver Ferns captain and assistant coach of the Canterbury Tactix. That one goes out the back door, or side door as the case may be. So a chance for the Tactix. Uncharacteristic of the Vixens to give away possession like that.
Yes, and again, front space for Halpenny.
And the pass. So we're seesawing our way through the early stages of the second spell.
Backed up by her wingman Thompson.
Even again, so first 3 goals of the quarter to the Vixens, second 3 to the Tactix. Kite penalised outside the circle, so a thankless task ahead for Vic Smith. She obstructs, so Thwaites right under the post. Now that's being reset because Vic Smith moved before the shot was taken.
And there's nothing worse when they miss it and they get another attempt.
McLeod's timing just a little bit off. And Halpenny makes the most of it.
Sensational pass. All and sundry give themselves a round of applause wearing Vixens colours. It's good, simple netball. That's not.
Bit of a rush of blood to the head there.
Well, they call Susan Furman the Furminator. We call Philippa Finch the Finchinator.
There it is.
Kite strikes again.
She's not afraid to come out and have a go.
Can they score off it?
Halpenny not afraid to go to the post.
And Charlotte Kite pretty happy that her intercept was scored off.
She's got 3 intercepts so far in this match.
Hallinan uses the transverse line to go again. Great way to make ground. This time it's Vic Smith called. Just arms around her opponent. Not in a love way. Bowden, strong drive.
And right on the circle edge, where she wants to be.
Thompson front cuts and delivers.
And Thompson going at 100%, 7 from 7 tonight.
And isn't it good to see both the Tactix shooters go to the post? That's exactly what you want from your shooting combination.
And McMahon just keeps on keeping on.
And McLeod's got to move in front of Hal Penny. She's been caught behind on numerous occasions. Needs to mix it up now.
And Kath, you mentioned her timing's off. How do you remedy that when you're out on court?
Well, it's more time. As I said, she hasn't played at this high level for a few weeks, and prior to that, she'd been semi-retired. So it does take a little bit of time to work yourself into a game, particularly at this high speed.
Gee, meantime, McMahon, what a magician.
Did you see the speed of her come in there? The entry, the way she split that circle.
I think you'd call it breakneck. Pretty to watch. Meantime, Tactix. Footwork called this time, so just those little mistakes creeping into the Canterbury Tactix game. And they're giving this Melbourne Vixens team easy opportunities. Thwaites, strong take. Strong shot. Stretches it to 2, and the Vixens will have the pass. Just look at this work going on off the ball. Before every centre pass, the Melbourne Vixens have a different setup. McMahon dances around the circle, and it's Thwaites in the end in the shooting position. It teeters in.
And it's looking like a timeout call. Marie Bowden heading to the bench.
I think she's got an itch.
That's an injury, is it, Kath?
The modern day injury, that is. It's a timeout for the Tactix because the Vixens were getting a run on. So
yeah, well,
you have to fool them somehow.
The last 3 goals the Vixens just got, so...
All right, folks, it's now time to announce the winners of the Mercury Energy Autograph Ball Competition. If you do that, you can be done in the Mercury Energy fan zone area.
They get in the free ball and then they just get in that cut, so we need to either try walk, something different, so all come over, slide down, toss it back, and then really get back and pick up, or man on, get behind them and push them up because they are getting that drive down really quick. That grubby,
Karen Anderson of Darlington, Miranda Mulder of Kaya Daphne Dix of Kaya and Sarah Essent of Alexandra. Those names again, Karen Anderson, Miranda Mulder, Daphne Dix and Sarah Essent.
so we need you two guys in the back. If they're going to come over and try a wall,
Mercury Energy, the power behind the Tactix.
Hey guys, come in. Okay, 3 goals, go back to what we said, every ball counts, okay? So everybody back on your own play and taking responsibility, okay? Same hardness, you know, that first half of the first quarter that we had, every ball you contested, everything you went for, same thing on defence, on attack, let your attack happen, okay? Let's go.
Well, I think, Tanya Dalton, that's called making the most of an injury break.
Yeah, I don't think she stopped Helen Manstroud, and she's, you know, she's amping her team up. She wants them, like, she knows every ball counts, every defensive turnover, and then they do that.
Should know that players don't often listen to the coach.
Clearly they didn't then. Thwaites now out of the circle, uses the transverse line. Vixens will look to set again. Helen in. Good work, Charlotte Kite.
That
She was square on, but still got the hand to it.
That change of pace from McMahon. She's so hard to defend.
When penalised, so that undoes all the good work. And Vixens the throw-in. So it's slow going, but it's turnover ball. And they'll want to make the most of it. Vic Smith wonders just how far back she can go.
Waits coming right up to the transverse. Often hard as a shooter when you come that far and you don't get it.
Kite flying through the air again.
Yeah, she's certainly having a go. Pretty high penalty count. She's got 11 penalties, but, you know, that just shows she's certainly having a crack at whatever she can.
And that was an awesome jump. Well-timed Kite. Now Finch storming through.
Oh. Bowden going, thank goodness.
A collective gasp from this near-capacity crowd at the Westpac Arena. Well weighted, but Bianca Chatfield hand to it so quick.
And as a defender, this is a nightmare when they come at you at this speed. Look at that.
Yep.
Nothing you can do about that. It's brilliant play, Vixens. Quick on the turnaround.
Not surprisingly, Vic Smith was the player who found herself on the back foot. Kite, good timing, but not enough to repel the shooting of Sherelle McMahon. So just over 5 minutes remaining before half-time, and it's the Vixens just ahead, really, 27-23, but their possession. Bit of a stoush. A couple of Oscars could have been given out for that, though.
Kite looking like she's loving it. When you look at the penalty count, 34 for the Tactix against 17 for the Vixens. So,
well, that certainly goes against the numbers for Australian teams playing in New Zealand. So the Melbourne Vixens will be very delighted with their discipline and with the New Zealand umpiring. That's just good, simple netball. Played well, Melbourne Vixens. And finished beautifully by Caitlin Thwaites again. Wow.
Oh, there you go. Oh! Those big diagonals, got to be so careful in this game.
Yeah, that's Danger Town. And now, after all of that, it's the Vixens with possession. Smith slows it down really more than anything, but she's out of the circle. Dangerous when your opponent is someone called Sherelle McMahon.
Oh. Sensational little pop through from Thwaites. Beautiful timing. So easy, under the hoop.
Melbourne Vixens starting to look very dangerous.
Both shooters out of the circle. Thwaites working her way in.
And the home side Tactix really need to stem the flow. Three minutes left now until half-time, 31-24. So the Vixens charging.
And Captain Mauser McLeod coming out there. She hasn't come out a lot tonight, but it was good to see she's looking for those diagonals.
Yeah, and as I said, it will take her time to get a feel for the game, and once she does, she will start to come out for more of those balls. But she's played a disciplined game so far, just hanging back, trying to pick off the ball here and there.
Sherelle McMahon, brilliant.
Like a goose step in there. I'm not calling her a goose, I'm saying it was quite a good step.
I wouldn't call Sherelle McMahon a goose.
What noise do geese make?
Meantime, Melbourne Vixens and that woman Sherelle McMahon again owns the baseline.
She and Thwaites are absolutely running rings around Smith and Kite now. They've got the movement going in the circle, and as a result, the heads of the defenders are just moving all over the place.
And again, the Vixens, the last 5 goals. Tactix can't afford this.
Bowden flings the ball at Halpenny. She wasn't ready, and there's the hand of McLeod again. Anna Thompson, Tactix need it. And they get it. So what a remarkable second spell. We were even at quarter time, 15 apiece. It's Bowden this time. And now in the pocket. Tactix need it.
Pittman thinking there's a screen set up, but Thompson thinking otherwise.
And Halpenny's trying to play the whole game still on McMahon, but she's got her covered now, so she needs to start moving some more.
Look at the speed that McMahon comes in. She just opens it up.
Great body position in the circle, using every inch of space to effect. And there is the 10-goal buffer. We're into the final minute before half-time.
Shows the class of this Vixen side. You have a slight lapse and all of a sudden you're down 10.
And if they score this, they'll have scored the last 7 goals. And they do. Well, the penalty's been called, but there won't be time because it's outside the circle. So the home side, the Canterbury Tactix, well, they'll go to the break with their heads down because over the past few minutes, it's been the visitors, led by Sherelle McMahon, who've run away with it. They go to the half-time break, 35-24 ahead. Who can believe we were even at quarter time? We're back to analyse the first half action live on Sky Sport. Half-time at the Westpac Arena in Christchurch, where through the second quarter, the visitors, the Melbourne Vixens, have completely dominated. After it being 15 apiece at quarter time, it's now 35-24. The way of the visitors, the Vixens, and former Silver Fern Tanya Dalton. You have to say, Caitlin Thwaites and Sherelle McMahon have been impeccable.
Oh, without doubt, and the way they move that circle. Thwaites, you know, she's a tall shooter, but she's still coming out. McMahon's coming in, they're turning, they look at the hoop and they go to the hoop, doesn't matter how far out they are, and it's certainly impressive. They back each other up like that, you know, they're getting each other rebounds and they're going at 88%, which is pretty impressive.
The Tactics have gone out to try and rattle McMahon. It's not working.
Well, she's so hard to rattle. Like we heard from Kath, you know, Harvey Williams, she said, you know, she's such a mature player now. She used to in her heyday probably get a bit more rattled, but now she just rises to it and she loves the challenge. And for any young shooter, you've got to watch this woman. She is impressive. Her speed off the mark, the way she moves that circle is certainly outstanding.
Well, the shining light for the Canterbury Tactics, without doubt, has been Charlotte Kite and Catherine Harvey-Williams, former Australian captain. Her timing's fabulous.
I've got to say the light was very bright in the first quarter, Andrew. She came to play, as Tanya said, she was very physical against McMahon. She backed herself. She wasn't willing to take a backward step, and she'd come out and have a go, and she was turning the ball over for her side. But as the match has progressed, the ball has started to move a lot more quickly. There's been less aerial ball, and she started to find herself a little bit wanting. But yes, she certainly contributed, particularly early on for her side. And she's a player that's just going to grow and grow over the next season or two to be something pretty reasonably special.
Well, she's going to have to work hard over the next half hour or so as Charlotte Kite, because her team is in arrears and by quite some margin. Still, she might just make it as our player of the match. If you think so, well, you can be in to win with us. You can text the name of your player of the match to 377. We'll put up the team lists at the end of the game, and you need to note that your text must match the spelling on our graphic exactly as you see it for you to be in to win. So, you can join us as we enjoy the Tactics hosting the Melbourne Vixens. We're back with the second half action very shortly. We go to the break, though. It's the Vixens leading 35-24. We're getting set for the start of the third quarter. Westpac Arena in Christchurch. And the Tactics trailing the Melbourne Vixens after a bit of a woeful second spell. Former Silver Fern Tanya Dalton. The numbers now not so good for the home side.
Certainly, the Tactics only shooting at 77%, not good enough. I guess the big one there, they've got 4 intercepts, which comes down to Charlotte Kite. But obviously they're not converting, and they need to lift that in order to be successful tonight.
And changes for the Tactix. They obviously weren't happy with the speed of ball coming through the mid-court, so Titman is off. And into wing attack goes Philippa Finch, and Hayley Crofts comes onto goal defence. Wing defence, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, Crofts a hand to it already, so she's fired up. McMahon. So the Melbourne Vixens start this third spell as they finish the second. Thompson now finds Finch, who's settling into that positional change. McLeod penalised. And Thompson's good for it. Joining us in commentary now, the coach of the Canterbury Tactix, Helen Mahn-Stroud. And Helen, I guess you needed to change something, hence the positional changes?
Yeah, we just felt that we needed a little bit more punch onto the ball down the attacking end. So changing Philippa Finch down there, she's got good change of speed and, you know, she's played in the mid-court, so she's used to feeding these girls.
Helen, where do you think the turning point was in that quarter where you just all of a sudden it went from being even to now you're looking down the barrel of 11 down?
Yeah, well, it went pretty quickly from 3 goals to 11 goals. And, you know, against quality teams like the Vixens, you can't afford to turn over, you know, your own ball. I think in that quarter we scored only 6 out of 15 of our own centre passes, and all it takes is just a couple of soft turnovers and all of a sudden you're up to 11 goals down.
OK, we'll go to it and all the best.
Keep it up. Thank you.
Well, as we were speaking to the Canterbury Tactix coach, Helen Mahn-Stroud, one of those soft turnovers occurred. This time, though, well, the Melbourne Vixens are the ones surrendering the ball with a held ball. So a bit of a messy start to this third term. Finch tries a rugby pass on the circle edge.
The coach wanted punch. That's what she's getting.
And with us now, the coach of the Melbourne Vixens, Julie Hornweg. Well, so far, really a game of 2 quarters, Julie. You would be very happy with that second spell.
I was happy with it, yeah. That was some dynamic netball.
Julie, you're certainly down the defensive end. Chatfield, McLeod, they've lifted it up another notch.
They needed to. I thought they were not doing a very good job the first quarter. They needed to be far more commanding of their space and be putting the opposition under pressure.
OK, well, all the best. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.
So Thompson now resetting for the Melbourne Vixens and finds Thwaites. So still 10 goals. The home side, the Canterbury Tactix, playing catch-up.
And Julie Hornweg saying, you know, they needed to lift their performance as defensive end. They're certainly doing that.
Jones now, turnover ball. Vixens looking to capitalise. Vic Smith called for contact. And Thwaites, Tanya, just makes it look so easy.
Oh, she certainly does. You know, you've got to enjoy watching her as a shooter. And I guess she just gets such quality ball from McMahon as well. But look at her now, right out, mixing it up. Not always just a standing shooter like you often see a lot of tall girls. And you can see she enjoys it. You know, the body language, the old high fives.
I reckon I'd enjoy playing with Sherelle too at the moment. She can make me look good.
I could play quite well with her too.
Meantime, other end, heaps of pressure on this young Canterbury Tactix attack. Even the unplanned balls look good down the Vixens' end. Baseline again, McMahon. She's just so stealth on that baseline.
It's the way her change of speed that impresses me, and the way she can mix up that ball speed.
So the team in red and black really needing to search for something special.
Solid shot from Thompson. Again, Thwaites right out.
Hayley Croft's called this time for contact.
Crofts, my ball on the edge of the circle, picking up the loose ball.
Yeah, the fresh legs have been good defensively for the Canterbury Tactics.
And those sort of crumbs now, they've got to convert.
They're just taking their time, though, to settle into this new front line. It's a pretty good way to do it, though.
And Thompson, you know, 14 from 15, 93%. So certainly impressive shooting effort from her. Again, this defensive end, they've certainly 3-foot mark over everything.
Not wasting ball either, the Vixens. They're just holding on to it a bit too long at times, but generally.
So just a miscommunication, really, Melbourne Vixens. And the Tactics given the opportunity. McMahon over everything. This time it's Charlotte Kite out of the circle. And a cunning little pass between circle mates.
And Halpenny not sinking that.
Yeah, scraps go to the Vixens. And just so quickly, they're through court again, and Thwaites is in a shooting position. She doesn't miss. She's amazing.
See the way she changed the timing there. Such a beautiful understanding, those two.
And that's where you need variety in your game. It's a classic example. She hadn't put in a long ball to Thwaites for quite some time. She popped it in. It was as easy as you like.
Well-timed pass. Philippa Finch. And this time, Halpenny converts.
It's not bad for a second-string lineup too, the Vixens so far. Missing a lot of key players today. Coletto, Nash, Chocolate on the bench.
And Smith there effective with the turnover on the centre pass.
And Kath, you look at this competition as well, and every single one of these players, apart from Natasha Chocolate, are born in Melbourne and surrounds. So it's all homegrown talent, which makes it all the more remarkable, doesn't it?
Yeah, they've got a strong sporting culture in Melbourne, so it's probably no surprise. Once they get into the system, it's pretty hard for them to leave. And just going on, they've just got such depth. They lose players like Madison Brown and Joe Curran to the fever because they just can't make it into such a formidable lineup like the Vixens.
Straight lines through court this time. Right down the middle.
Thought Helen gave her a little elbow then, but maybe it was from my angle. Kath, talking Helen, we're used to seeing her at wing defence. Her performance at centre, what do you make of it?
Yeah, look, a serviceable job. She hasn't been outstanding, but she's done what has been required of her by the coach, so I guess you can't complain, but much better at wing defence.
Yeah, interesting replay. Thompson now for the Vixens. And the call will be offside against Philippa Finch, who tumbled across the transverse line. So Charlotte Kite, well, a very high penalty count against her.
Certainly is, and you look at it, you know, 15 and Victoria Smith 16, so pretty high compared to, you look down the other end, Chatfield 8 and McLeod, she's pretty up at 14, so quite a big difference.
Finch now dodges, gets prime position on the circle edge.
Oh,
Bowden's taken a blow to the face.
She found blood, she's looking, I think.
It's when your nose feels about 3 times the size.
The 2010 ANZ Championship. Please visit anzchampionship.com. You can check out the match centre and the fan zone and become a registered user for the chance to win the ultimate inner sanctum experience.
Maybe a bit of an elbow.
Yeah, nothing in it really.
Mercury Energy, the power behind the Tactix.
I guess when you're trailing by, 13 goals,
everything hurts.
Yeah, whack to the face.
Yeah.
Just as insult adds insult to injury. And she's such an inspirational leader in 2010 as Marie Bowden.
You know, she's had her fair share of setbacks, you know, missing out on that silver fern, so she's got a point to prove. She looks like she's enjoying it out there, which is great to see.
So just while Marie Bowden takes time out, let's take a look at her game so far. Pretty sensational feeding time.
Yeah, she's found Halpenny a number of times, often, especially in that first quarter, over the arms of McLeod. Certainly McLeod's tightened up again now, but what I like, she hits that circle edge and she provides her shooters good quality ball, which is what you want from your centre. Defensively, she's constantly working, you know, and she's certainly leading by example out there.
Well, thankfully, Marie Bowden's restored.
Just a blow to the mush. It always feels like you've had your face squashed.
And as a player, you never want that wraparound bandage right around your head. You certainly get it from your teammates.
It can affect your eyesight somewhat too, Kath.
She's giving us some good facials.
So Thompson now. There's one back for the Canterbury Tactix. But the home side will need plenty more.
The positive thing for the Tactix, though, is they were down 11 at half-time. It's only increased to 12, so they're certainly stuck with the Vixens in this quarter, which is a good sign.
And they'll stick with them if Helen Halpenny continues to shoot like that. Helen now. Oh, straight through all of the Tactix defenders.
And big Aussie one-handed hurl.
And McMahon just so clever.
You run out of words to say about this woman.
Crofts wrestles the ball and offloads it to her captain.
Halpenny guilty there of trying to hold that front space, but pushing that backside into McLeod. Got to stand upright when you're a shooter.
This time the Vixens take it down the sideline. Plenty of red and black players there to pick up the scraps.
Solid backup from this side.
They're pushing them right up, the Vixens, trying to crowd them.
Throw-in will go to the Tactix because Bianca Chatfield tipped that in whilst she was out of court. So Thompson now, another opportunity.
Oh, Thompson using her body well.
And McLeod called for distance obstruction. And that puts Thompson right under the post where she's unlikely to miss. McMahon, the wily veteran, just sneaks over the transverse line for centre pass.
I think they need to help Smith out with the defence of McMahon to block up the space, come off their players. She's doing as she pleases.
She is that. Stunning game tonight from the master, Sherelle McMahon.
Going at 90%, 19 from 21.
She can do no wrong. And there's another turnover, Melbourne Vixens. So the Canterbury Tactix coach, Helen Mann-Stroud, said she really wanted possession values.
Oh, get out of my way, says Charlotte Coe.
Well, she doesn't just say it. Charges through the lot of them.
Oh,
I thought that might have been a step.
Lucky, I think.
She wants the whole team to come and stand beside her.
Well, that spiced things up in the dying stages of this third quarter.
Oh, Halpenny on her own.
Thankfully, her captain saw it. And there goes Charlotte Kite. Boom. Lovely peel, Caitlin Thwaites. She's got such a repertoire. Just a minute left now, third spell.
Oh, take a bow. She's not even smiling. She's got to let one rip.
And they could well win this quarter, the Tactix, which is impressive, considering it was an 11-goal turnaround in that second.
Oh. Flat bounce, straight in.
High fives and low fives, and still time for another sneaky one, the Canterbury Tactix. Thompson regathers and surrenders the ball.
They need to slow it up here, the Tactix. Bit of obstruction, just like Halpenny caused then. That's what you want.
Yeah, and look for the big one down now. And who's going to do it? Oh, McMahon.
Vixens.
The umpire's called contact in the circle, though. So the Melbourne Vixens will get the penalty shot. And she's sure and steady as Caitlin Thwaites. That means this has been an even quarter. But that doesn't mean too much for the home side, the Canterbury Tactix, because they still trail by 11 goals. We head to three-quarter time with the Melbourne Vixens ahead, 48-37. Back to finish it off very soon, live on Sky Sport.
I've even identified it. I go, stop bloody dancing. Now there. It's all right. Just take more on the first one. Sprint. Go harder on the first one.
Right, so this slide...
Tell Katie about that. We won that quarter by one. Okay, if we can do that, we're just going to play it to the post like we can. Okay, so really simple balls. Just bring it down through the court. We've got it on tap. Have the confidence just to let it go. Okay, that power plays to the post. On defence, just the whole team, we're going to go 0.9, disciplined, really good arms up over the ball, and just everyone working, and let's rush it. Okay, rush everything.
Well, good messages from the Canterbury Tactix coach, Helen Mann-Stroud. But really, they face an uphill battle. They trail this amazing Melbourne Vixen side by 11, Tanya Dalton. Much work ahead.
Yeah, and like, you know, they drew that quarter, but again, the goal percentages, it's not up high enough. The intercept, surprising, they've got more than the Vixens, but certainly need to improve that performance against a class side like this Vixens.
Final spell underway, live, Westpac Arena in Christchurch. And it's the Melbourne Vixens charging on.
And we heard McMahon-Stroud say, let's rush this and head to the post.
Well, Marie Bowden tries to be clever. She could put the ball in the circle without going offside, but...
And McMahon pulling a defence then, opening it up for Thwaites. Smart play.
Canterbury Tactix now playing catch-up. We know they're good at it.
Finchinator coming right up.
Finch offering and offering again, and she needs to. So much pressure from this Vixens defence. Over the head of Demelza McLeod, can't do that. She's found her timing and her rhythm as this game's progressed, Kath.
Yeah, she certainly has, and I guess that's what we expected. She's a very good player. She often delivers at a reasonable level, and she's come into a team that she's very unfamiliar with. So I guess if you put all those things together, you'd have to say it's been a fine performance.
And Demelza McLeod, of course, played for the Canterbury Tactix back in 2008. She's had 7 test caps for Australia. She's 29 years old, so she's a player with much experience. So in the absence of Julie Corletto, gee, not a bad player to take her place.
She's a former teammate of mine, Andrew, and I can tell you she's one of the characters, a really good team person. She's out there. Lucky her hair's not purple.
It almost matched the Vixens' uniform. Bowden now in Tactix. Philippa Finch. We don't see her play at wing attack much. She's just struggling positionally, even though she's doing a lot of work off the ball. Holds her ground, though, and she'll get the penalty. Offside, in fact.
And this lady, Anna Thompson, she's done a truckload of work tonight. Shooting at 89%. She's put up her fair share at goal attack.
And then that happens, which is the second air ball we've seen from Ellen Halpenny. So,
and a player who started this match so well. But again, you've got to come to the party for 60 minutes at this level.
And we've seen the Canterbury Tactix pull the full court zone time and again in this championship so far. But possession, well, it's just frittered away, isn't it? Frustrating stuff. The zone again. Let's see how they go. Vic Smith this time. Oh, what a bullet. And McMahon uses ball speed. Just glorious. Both Vixens attackers hanging off the line. And it's Jones who just charges through. And a look at the scoreboard in the rivalry round. 204 Australia to 165 New Zealand. Former Australian captain Catherine Harvey-Williams.
I think Australians are taking a close look at that, and New Zealanders are turning their head.
Hey, don't underestimate the Mystics later.
I think they'd need to win by about 100.
Maths has never been my strong point.
And I think the Aussies will claim this rivalry round already.
Halpenny now makes good. And the crowd have stayed in good heart here at the Westpac Arena in Christchurch. Loyal Canterbury Tactix fans as McMahon dances around the circle edge again. Bowden almost to it. Thwaites, though, regathers.
And a nice little time pop from McMahon.
Good pressure on the shot kite and the scraps. Vic Smith dancing.
And McLeod caught right out. Halpenny left alone.
Quite a burst, Canterbury Tactix. 2-on-1 Thompson. They were always going to look back.
Oh. I didn't see an ankle tap there, did you, Andrea?
Someone wearing white didn't tag. And so the turnover, Melbourne Vixens. Oh, frustrating, heartbreaking.
Where'd she come from?
Yeah, who comes up with it? Surprise, surprise. Wonder Woman, Sherelle McMahon.
The test now for the Tactix is to try and remain with the Vixens. If they can do that, then it's a reasonable performance, barring the second quarter.
And Thwaites again, high fives, low fives. It's been a commanding performance by the Melbourne Vixens on attack and defence. As Anna Thompson now tries to get one back, and she does.
And slots it with confidence. Out wide.
And Suddenly, Kath Harvey-Williams sideline there. Someone's woken the crowd up in this fourth spell. They're going nuts.
They're a terrific crowd, actually. The game has been reasonably one-sided since the second quarter, but the Tactics have held it together, and I think they're just wooing them on to try and stay with the Vixens, and there's another mistake.
McMahon directs even on defence. Just trying to force the Canterbury Tactics into their web of Vixens defenders.
Yep, there's New Zealand zone going on there by the Vixens.
Yeah.
Oh, and they come up with it. So effective.
And Vic Smith should have known better. So another waste of turnover ball. I mean, Kath, you talk about the Tactics wanting to leave this one with their heads up. If they could make use of their turnover possession, it would help.
Yes, they're certainly getting enough ball.
Because that's a gift. So just over 8 minutes remaining in this match. 55-41 it is. Melbourne Vixens ahead of the Canterbury Tactics. Anna Thompson, sure and steady for her team. Marie Bowden gives it everything. Turns herself inside out, Sherelle McMahon. Stunning.
Bowden on the charge. Sitting on that circle edge. Halpini just rushing that shot, just needs to take a breath.
Oh, several. So Jones now. Easy stuff. Easy entry into the circle.
She gets that, I'll go.
But she doesn't. Luckily, you'd have to say for the Canterbury Tactics. Penalty goes against Sheffield. And again, the young Canterbury Tactics shooter, Alan Halpenny's called for contact. There's quite an exchange going on between she and McLeod. Jones now, McMahon.
And look at that change of ball speed.
Yes, in top flight, you wouldn't see a team move the ball as quickly as the Vixens.
And with just over 6 minutes remaining in this game, the Melbourne Vixens just stretching their lead out. Thompson was right to look for the offload. Looked like the space was there. Finds Finch this time. Great baseline pop.
Stunning footwork on that baseline.
And Sherelle McMahon, well, that's uncharacteristic, that miss. Her court work, though, just stunning.
And Bowden not happy with herself. Slip through the hands.
It's pretty indicative of how the Canterbury Tactics night's gone. Kite called for distance. So an easy one for the Melbourne Vixens there, romping away with it.
Oh, big call. Oh.
And the throw-in called before the ball had even gone out of court. Here's the Canterbury Tactics zone again.
Look at that pass.
The Vixens just looked right over the top and tore through it. It's too easy. It takes it out to 15 goals now, the lead.
Good to see the coach looking ecstatic.
Yeah.
Chatfield Cats certainly got some great vision.
Halpenny just getting all tied up by Demelza McLeod. Races round the baseline. And nails it. So these two sides have met twice in the ANZ Championship. First occasion in 2008. The Vixens won by 8. Last year they won by 28. This looks like it's going to meet somewhere in the middle, Tan. As McMahon combines so well with Jones again. But Jones just a little careless. Whoa.
Oh, just about a few knocked drinks here.
And McMahon, butter wouldn't melt. Didn't come off my fingertips. Strong lane Vic Smith forces McMahon to pass. Thwaites, though, nice and steady and gets the call. Pretty to watch.
Thwaites, she's shot over 1,000 goals in this competition.
Bowden drives to the circle edge. And Halpenny on the baseline again. Make sure of it. So with 2.5 minutes
there we
left.
go, Hayley Crofts.
Well, time's run out for the home side. They'll get this one back and maybe another couple to finish strongly. Not if those kind of little mistakes just keep creeping into the Tactix game. She's been unstoppable, Sherelle McMahon.
I guess this Tactix side have learnt, you know, you just can't let a quarter blow out like it did in that second quarter. You can't play catch-up against a side like this Melbourne Vixens.
And you can't miss goals against them. And Kath Harvey-Williams, you'd have to say, gee, this Vixen side looks ominous.
Yeah, but it's interesting if you analyse the game. It's really the second quarter where they blew it out by 11 goals. And this last quarter where I think they're a few up. But apart from that, it's been even. So they've looked amazing tonight. But if you, I guess, break the game up, they may not be a little bit dissatisfied with their performance. So it'll be interesting to hear from Sherelle McMahon and the likes to see what they say.
Well, it's a bit of a scrappy end to things. And as Kath said, it's been a dominant second quarter, which has led to this Melbourne Vixens victory. And in this fourth spell, they've just run away with it.
And when a team's up by that much, they can let it go with so much more confidence.
And Thwaites adds another. Into the final minute. Live with you from the Westpac Arena in Christchurch. Great pass. McMahon misses, but her cohort gathers the rebound and scores. So now Finch, Thompson and Bowden combine. This time the call against Demelza McLeod. She's had plenty go her way tonight. And Thompson makes sure of it. So the championship frontrunners, the Melbourne Vixens, have come to the Garden City and they'll go home with a comprehensive win. They've played stunning netball here in Christchurch and they've beaten the home side, the Canterbury Tactix, 64-49. And Tanya Dalton, it's been thanks largely to Sherelle McMahon and Caitlin Thwaites. What a combination.
Oh, certainly. And, you know, the confidence, the way they move that circle, the change of pace, the change of timing that McMahon brings to that circle, certainly outstanding. They were shooting at 85%. They turn and put it up from anywhere in the circle, and, yeah, beautiful to watch.
Disappointment for the Canterbury Tactix. Their third loss in ANZ Championships to the Melbourne Vixens. What will they take from it?
Look, they started that game well. I thought, you know, they came in with a solid game plan. They knew they had to front up and deliver, and each of the players did, but you can't come up against a side like the Vixens and lose a quarter by 11, and that's the one that will haunt them for the rest of the night. That second quarter, and then it's catch-up netball, which is pretty hard to play against them. I guess one player to come out, Anna Thompson, I thought she was impressive. She certainly moved that circle. She shot at 84% tonight, and she is one player that certainly came to the party for them.
It's been absolute dominance from the Melbourne Vixens. So let's get the post-match reaction now and hear from their skipper, the unstoppable Sherelle McMahon, is with our own Kath Harvey-Williams.
Sherelle, you said to me before the game that you're starting to feel a little bit old. If you can produce a performance like that at your age, you've got to be happy.
Look, we're really happy with the win of 15 goals. I mean, it was extremely tough out there, and, you know, I think I sort of lost it a bit towards the end there, threw a few passes away, so there's always things to work on.
You came in with a lineup that has been different to the one that you've started over the past few weeks because Corletto was out, Nash, Chocolate on the bench, but those who came in certainly stepped up, didn't they?
Absolutely, and I'm so proud of those girls who got their opportunity tonight, and they really took it. So for us, it is about having a really strong group of 12, and I think we proved that we do have a great amount of depth on the bench tonight.
Almost a third of the way through the season. Can you summarise how you think the Vixens are sitting at this point in time?
Well, obviously we're happy with 4 wins out of 4 starts, but I think that we've still got a lot to work on. We haven't been really happy with the way we've been playing, so I guess at this point of the season, that's not a bad thing. We don't want to be playing our best netball now, so we've got some things to work on, but happy with the 4 wins for sure.
There's a lot of talk about Australian teams coming over here to New Zealand and having a high contact count. That didn't seem to be the case tonight. Were you aware of that?
Wasn't aware of the contact count tonight, but certainly we do find some differences between the way the umpires umpire here in New Zealand compared to Australia. I think we're allowed to contest a little bit more in Australia, but that's just the differences. We see the difference in that when we, with the players, that they play a different style of game, so we expect that with the umpiring, and it's just about adjusting to that no matter which umpire we have.
Great, thanks Sherelle.
No worries, thanks Kath.
Smile on the face of Sherelle McMahon, for good reason. Her team's completely dominated the Canterbury Tactix here tonight, Tanya.
Yeah, certainly. Outstanding performance by them. And I guess you break down the stats. They're shooting at 85%, which is what a class side like this does. I guess the interesting one here, Andrea, is, you know, the intercepts 10-2 for the Tactix. And probably a lot of that comes down to the young Charlotte Kite. Rebounds pretty even. Turnovers, too many for the Canterbury Tactix, 29. And the big one, the penalties. Tactix again, high.
Well, let's hear how the Canterbury Tactix will take stock of this performance. Their captain, Marie Bowden's now sidelined with Kath.
Marie, a terrific start to the game. I think it was even at quarter time, and then you fell in a hole in that second quarter. What happened?
Yeah, I just think they really tightened up in the defence end, and it was really hard to get the ball into the circle, and on attack they were just letting the ball go, and it's hard when you're chasing. So, yeah, they're a quality team, and it was a good effort, but not good enough.
Explain what it is like, because when they're in full flight coming down the court at a million miles an hour, they're virtually unstoppable, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Look, and you can't chase them. You've got to hold them up, you know, right from the attack end through. Otherwise, when they get their heads up and the ball going, it just whizzes past your head, and it's like playing ping pong.
Teams always like to take positives out of games like that. Can you find any?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, we hung in there in that second half, and you know, to lose, we improved from last year. I think we got smashed by like 30 goals last year, so to lose by 15, well, that's a positive. And there was some good things, but we're just not consistent yet, and we need to really, you know, start putting some games together.
It's all about keeping the confidence up. What is it like in the camp, considering you've only had 1 win for the season?
Oh no, the confidence is good. Everyone, it's a great team on and off the court. We get on really well, and it would just be nice to put 4 quarters together. When we do, we'll be on fire. So here's hoping we don't leave it too late.
I'm sure the home crowd can't wait. Thanks, Marie.
Awesome, thanks.
Fine kind words from Marie Bowden. She's been an inspirational captain. Is she your player of the match, though? Well, you can join us and be in the action with Fisher and Peichel by texting the name of your player of the match to 377. So let's take a look at the team list, because your spelling will need to match ours exactly. So take a good look. If you've got My Sky, hit pause, get it right, and text the name of your player of the match to 377 to be in to win with us here on Sky Sport. Well, we're back to analyse what's been an enthralling match. It's the Melbourne Vixens, though, all smiles, because they've come to the Garden City and they'll leave with a 64-49 win over the home side, the Canterbury Tactix.
We'll take you on court. You can see Katrina Grant's stats here. We're on court here with the queen of the hold, yes, Irene van Dijk.
We'll help you out with your game.
Your game.
Stand a metre away from the wall, and then you're going to pitter-patter the ball around in a circle. We'll bring you the analysis.
Catherine Latu, she's in form up against Casey Williams, who you would say had a reasonably quiet game on Monday night.
So come on. Come on. Come on. Join us on court.
Wednesdays on Sky Sport.
Welcome back to Westpac Arena, where the Vixens have been outstanding against the home side, the Canterbury Tactix, winning 64-49. Tanya, they virtually won it in that second quarter, didn't they?
Look, you cannot come up against a side like the Melbourne Vixens. You know, they were even after the first quarter, but losing that second quarter by 11, and then you're playing catch-up for the remainder of the game. The third quarter, they drew that again, but let it slip. So, yeah, Vixens class.
Plenty of class players out on court, and none more so than Sherelle McMahon. She is our Fisher and Peichel player of the match. She led from the front. She was terrific in defence, and she really moved the ball around the court. And her partner in crime, Tanya, with 2 votes, Caitlin Thwaites.
Yeah, well, that pretty much sums it up. That attacking end for the Vixens was nothing short of outstanding. The way they moved it, they were consistent on their shot. The way they moved that circle, certainly impressive.
And the Tactics were competitive, so 1 vote, Tanya, we gave to Anna Thompson. She really stood up for the entirety of the game, didn't she?
She certainly did. She impressed me tonight, the way she took charge down the attacking end. You know, it didn't always go their way, but she turned, she put the shot up, she was reasonably consistent. She shot at 84% and she put up a number of shots. So, yeah, well done to her.
Well, let's talk to the best player in the Tactics outfit. She is on court with Andrea McVeigh.
Well, Anna, commiserations, a big loss in the end, but just 1 bad quarter. That's frustrating stuff.
Yeah, it was really frustrating. We started really well, and it was definitely something that we had worked on and wanted to do, especially against the Vixens. So, yeah, really disappointing that they got that roll on in the second quarter, and it's hard to play catch-up netball.
What's the good stuff you take from it?
Yeah, I think we can definitely take lots of good stuff from it. They were a real physical team, and we knew that. We knew that they were going to be on us the whole time and going through everything. So we'll take the experience. Well, in the shooting circle, Ellen was, she stood up and really wanted the ball. So we've still got to put it into her, trust her, and know that she'll get up and get it for us.
And just very quickly, that young combination, yourself with Ellen Halpenny, enjoying it?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, she's really fantastic. She's learning every game, and she's telling me what to do, and I'm trying to tell her what to do. So getting better each game, so that's great.
Well, we're enjoying it. Thanks for your time. Have a great week.
Thank you.
A terrific performance by Anna Thompson, but let's look at some of the results over the course of the weekend, Tanya. The Magic got off to a good start for New Zealand, 55-50 over the Fever. Take us through the rest of the results.
And again, New South Wales Swifts, another win, a big one over the Central Pulse. Yes, the Birds against the Steel. You know, they were too good. Steel just let them go in that final quarter. And I guess the big one after this one tonight, Mystics up against the Firebirds. And I know you, Kath, you're picking the Mystics.
Yeah, I think Romilda Aitken is out of form, so I think the Mystics will get up. And if you wanted to look at the points table, you could say the Vixens are around the top. It was a convincing performance, and there they are sitting in first position. They are dominating, but it is time for us to leave Westpac Arena. The Vixens were way too good for the Canterbury Tactix, 64-49. Make sure you stay tuned for the next game, the Firebirds versus the Mystics.
Play with madness. Sands to wonder.
Sky Netball team styled by Ketski.